Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Full Circle Players Artist Interview Series. I'm Jeremy Mercado,
And I'm Steve Yamas.
and our artist of the month is.
My name is Angel Nieves. What's up?
Yes, thank you for being with us, and thank you for taking time to talk to us today. Now, Steve, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about why we're all here today?
Yeah, of course, of course. So here at Full Circle Players, we believe in uplifting local voices and getting to know the artists in our communities, honoring art as a living practice rooted in care, process, and connection. This series is our way of slowing down and listening and learning who artists are beyond the work, where they come from, and why art continues to matter in their lives and in ours as well, right? For this episode, we're joined by Angel Nieves, a theater artist and R&B singer-songwriter performing under the name City Pigeon. His work moves between stage and music, blending storytelling, vulnerability, and rhythm. He was recently seen as Hasson in Full Circle Players' production of Mojada and continues to perform across the LA music scene as City Pigeon. Thanks for your time, Angel. We're really excited to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here, y'all.
Thank you. Just to start us off, so who are you besides the little bio that I gave you, right?
Hmm. Who am I? Um, I am human. I am here. But ultimately, an artistic lens, I would say I'm a storyteller. And I think that comes in many different forms and realms, and it can be delivered in many different ways. But um, I think that can come up just even in conversation, and I just enjoy conversation and being able to just talk with people and tell them where I'm from and hear other people's stories. I think that's just like on a human everyday level. But artistically, I think there's a few things that I picked up throughout my life that are vital to just like my artistry and just I guess this storyteller that I define myself as.
Well, in that vein, what is your art?
My art, I'm a songwriter. I enjoy, you know, just hearing music and different sounds. And I think from just that, it evokes like a feeling. It reminds me of something or it just inspires me to say something. So I write songs, I write poetry, and I think that just ties into the storytelling. Um, I do live performances sometimes, which just allows me to tell the stories to people. A lot of the times, I'm just kind of just writing stories, and no one needs to hear them, but I just I write a lot to myself or just to just to vent, just to put some words out there. But I just think it's beautiful that you can capture so much with just like a pen and like a page, and then you can transform it into so much. So I think that's yeah, I'm a songwriter. We'll start with that.
All right, very cool.
That's really good. You got a lot of different art going on, right? And it's not you don't see a lot of theater artists who are also just focused on like their own being a musician as an individual, right? So how did you discover these different arts in your journey?
I think I just would I was when I grew up, I just there's a lot of like artists that I was like listening to and I grew up um and yeah, I just like loved it. And I was like, what if I had like my own voice? Like what stories would I say or what are things that I'm not hearing? So it inspired me to like write things that I wanted to hear or I wanted to see. Um and you said like sorry, your question again, you were tying it said what was it, the different mediums?
Yeah. Like what type of arts like do you dabble in?
Mm. Yeah, so there's the music, um, but then also I do theater, and I think a lot of my theater experience just helped shape this like songwriting journey because like even when you just have like a script, it's just like words on a page, and there's just like so much that you can do with it, and just ways that you can storytell. And I think a lot of like my writing was really inspired, like by the theater. Like it's very theatrical where I feel like start something I like want to paint these like pictures. Um, and if you can't like see it visually, it's like you can like see it and hear it like sonically.
Mhm.
So I think that's how like the theater has inspired me. Just like straight plays and stuff, but even just like the power of like musical theater. I think musical theater, like when I first ever saw it, it was just like life changing, and it also just made me think like, well, what if I could like write stuff like that too? And that's like another interest of mine where I'm like, I just want to write like a musical that kind of has these genres of music that you would just kind of listen to every day in your car, and you're just like, you just vibe into them, but it's also like it's sick. Like you just like it's kind of like an everyday thing that you do. So I think that's like some of my interests and stuff that I like intend to dabble in moving forward. And I have had some experiences with friends, just like being able to like experiment with these things and have like actors and bodies on stage and just to see how it all comes together and what you can do just taking a story from a page and you can just do so much with it.
To continue the conversation a little bit, what so how would you describe City Pigeon?
Mm. I honestly, I always wanted to say City Pigeon was like my higher self, or like this like dream version of something that I wanted to be. But I think I like starting to discover that City Pigeon is like it's like the vulnerable part of me, but it's also just like the part of me that's not afraid to say like that I've made mistakes or that like all these like things that you wouldn't usually want to say like or like I'm sad or like I've struggled or something where it's like I felt so liberated to say it under that lens. So I feel like City Pigeon is kind of like this visual of like this like underdog, and I think a lot of times like I felt like that in my life. And I think like when you think of birds and stuff, like the pigeon is like just a dirty street bird that you see everywhere, and no one's just like, oh, it's not like an eagle, it's not like it's not like something glamorous, but I think there is still so much beauty in something that isn't you know always recognized as beautiful. And I think City Pigeon is um is just like, yeah, I would say City Pigeon is my most vulnerable self, my unafraid self, my fearless self.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And just to tie in these two art forms that you dabble in, right? Has there been a moment or an experience, or have you written something that combined both of them?
I've definitely experimented with it. I had like these songs where I was like, okay, I feel like the songs they all kind of connect in one way or another. So I was like, okay, let me do like a concert experience. So it's just how like in musical theater and musicals, sometimes the music just goes on and on and on, and it doesn't stop, and there's no just like formal, regular speaking. I just created like a world like that where I just kind of got to bring like other bodies in and just play with movement and lighting and costuming, and then just like little props
Mhm.
that weren't too crazy, and it kind of just goes back to like agitprop theater where you don't really need too much to like to like say what you have to say.
Mhm.
Um, so yes, I did a project. It was called One Life. That's the first project that I worked on, and this was in college. And then that was like my first year into transferring into the theater department because I studied theater, but still I was like bringing the music into the theater. Um, and then before I graduated, after doing One Life, I worked on Another Life, and
Mhm.
I think it was like the sequel of something that was just so much better that was to come. Where I think I had just learned so much after everything that had happened.
To now, what's I remember we both what college did you go to? You didn't even say.
No, I went to UC San Diego.
Yes, amazing, amazing, amazing. I remember this performance, right? You even brought in these props that he's talking about, right? He brought in like flowers and spread them across the audience, and this idea of bringing nature into the theater, right? Also experiencing these you didn't really talk about, but like these profound thoughts of living your life, right? Being unchained to these things that make us really little. Um, but yeah, I would like to pass it on to Jeremy. I'm so sorry.
Hey, no worries. I love to hear you talk. I love to hear both of you talk. I'm sure more people would love to hear you guys talk. So where can we find your art, or where can we find your music? Where do you have a SoundCloud or something?
I have a Spotify where I put the City Pigeon music on. I worked on the project I was talking about, Another Life. That was the project where I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to like release my voice, like to just let it be free after just, taking it out of the bedroom. So yeah, I have an album out. It's called Another Life. Um, and name is City Pigeon under Spotify. Um, Occasionally, sometimes I'll put stuff just like on my Instagram. But mostly, I think I just like to do it live. Like I go to like local open mics, I get to meet other artists and stuff. But I think there's something that happens when it's live that like cannot be captured. And you just try to like record it or like quote unquote perform it or something. Um, but yeah, mainly you can catch me in the city.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And finally, a lot of this art that we're speaking of, that you're bringing up, it's very intentional, right? And it's very purposeful, right? So why is art important to you, right?
Specifically to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
To me, I think just I think for me, I just need like an outlet. It doesn't matter whether it's just singing freely or just dancing or just moving around. I think that is art, and I think that we are meant to be creative beings. And I think for me, like when I don't do those things, um, I don't feel free because I think there's so much like freedom in art, and it doesn't need to be perfect. And I think that's what is so beautiful and important, and to just like yeah, it's just for me, like I have to just keep reminding myself, like, you gotta just keep doing this regardless of whatever, just because you love it. Just to be free for my creative self, to just be free, to never die. And I
yeah.
think there's so much like play in art, and I think that's why it's so important to me.
Hmm. That's it's very beautiful, especially at a time right now, right? This idea of play and this idea of being liberated within that. That's very beautiful. That's very beautiful. Thank you, Anke.
Thank you.
And we want to thank you for being here with us today. And we'd like to give you one more chance. If you want to shout out your Instagram, shout out your Spotify, like you've said, uh, go ahead.
I would love to shout out those things, and yes, City Pigeon, Instagram, and Spotify, but shout out Full Circle Players. I love Full Circle Players.
Thank you so
Such a
much.
beautiful place
Easy.
and space.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anke.
All right. I think that's going to be it for us today. And we want to thank you once again for being with us. Thank you for Full Circle Players for letting us do this. And I think we should maybe close it out just by saying, remember, theater is for all, and
Peter
art is
Scorpio.
being with us.
Bye, y'all. Have a good night.
Good night.